All right. Welcome to the Sister Cities Commission meeting, 5:15 PM, Monday, March 3rd, 2025. First item on the agenda will be to do the roll call. So should we just go around the room?
Go around, I make sure I got them, okay?
So we've got Kathleen Backer. We've got Tony Bernick. Got Larry Mack, John Vorwick. We got Jane Mayday. We have Ron Winiger. So, item 3 will be election of officers. And our past chair resigned at the end of 2024 to serve as a counselor for Ward 3. So do we want to take any action on that tonight to elect a chair? Or we would like to wait till we have more of a members present?
I'd like to make a motion that we postpone until we have a full attendance.
Okay,
Second.
so we have a motion and a second to table the chair position till the next meeting. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, item 4 will be approval of the minutes from the February 3rd, 2025 Sister Cities Commission meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the meeting minutes? Any questions or comments in regards to the minutes? If nothing else on it, I'll look for a motion.
I move we accept the motion or the minutes as submitted.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I second.
So we have a motion and a second then to approve the minutes as presented. Any further discussion? All signify by aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. Item 5 would be the financial report. 5.1, approve the financial report for the date ending February 28th, 2025, Sister Cities 2/28/25 general budget. And it looks like our expenses were $440 for our annual 2025 international membership. And that's all I see, unless anybody else sees something different, but looks like we've got a strong account yet. Anybody else have any comments in regards to the financials? We'll look to approve the financial report.
Make a motion that we accept the financial report for March.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the February 28th, 2025 financial report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6 would be the Hans Joos Cultural Exchange Program. And 6.1 would be Outbound Hans Intern. And the interviews were held February 5th, 2025 by Larry Mack, John Vorwick, and Jane Mayday. And should I say my comments first? Or do you two want to say your comments and then?
Let's see if you say them first.
Oh, gee, okay. Well, I'm just going to say, first of all, we were lucky we had 3 good candidates. And it's always a challenge, especially to find it in our hometown, it seems to be. But we're also very fortunate that we have the college that has had some great students that have had an interest and had the German background. So in my eyes, I felt that Martha Blog stood out the best with all of her German language, and she teaches it every day in the school, and she still has an interested in this. And she applied in 2020 previously, and in 2020 we didn't do anything because of COVID, and I felt that she stood out the best in my personal opinion. The next one I felt that stood out was the Isaac Butchner, and he's a German student up at the college. He's 20 years old. I think he's a little young. I think I'd like to encourage him to come back in another year. And then the Zach Helget, he came to New Ulm during his high school years. Another good candidate, but I think he would be my third choice. And after we did interviews, I got an email from Zach that he was going to be withdrawing his application because it wasn't going to work with his current employer. And when we were asking him questions about getting away from potentially up to 3 months, you know, he was going to be working with his employer. But after discussing it with his employer, whether it would be a month or 3 months, it was going to be challenging. So that puts us down to 2 candidates. That's my take on it. I'll let John or Jane, do you have some comments?
No, I didn't get the last name. What was the
He was
The
like,
Zach,
Martha.
Martha Blog,
blog?
yeah, BALG.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
she's a New Ulm native and attended MLC college, and then she did a couple German internships, and she's got what was it, like 7 years of German, and then she's highly qualified for it in that aspect. The Zach Helget didn't speak any German, so that's why it kind of was lacking. You know, that's where I kind of personally rated at the lower end, but of it. But I thought Martha's at that one of them at that age that she's working full time. You know, her school will work with her on scheduling to come.
Very enthusiastic.
And I think
about
that
New Ulm.
there wouldn't probably be too many more years before, she might get off and married and start a family and opportunities, That's
Yep.
just where I look at it, but we'll let,
Well, and she was very enthusiastic about New Ulm and promoting New Ulm and knew a lot about art history in New Ulm, and yeah, she was very enthusiastic, so I agree.
anybody have any questions or in regards to, I did email Lisa, and she did a screenshot that she sent it to Kathleen and John and Jane, that what we would share tonight, but so I guess we're in agreements. We'll look for a motion to, that way we can get to her on discussions with Lisa, and they can schedule some times.
I make a motion that we move forward with Martha Blog as our candidate to represent us in the Hans Joseph program.
So we have a motion for Martha Blog for our outbound Hans Jos intern. Do we have a second?
I'd like to second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now, we got the inbound Hans Jos intern. So there were 3 applications that were in our February 2nd or 3rd meeting. I don't know if everybody had a chance to look at those applicants in last month's agenda. And what we discussed in our February meeting was, so we had 3 good applicants, but myself and Kathleen Backer were going to ask some possible employers, so we were going to kind of, what I took from the meeting, what we were going to try and see if there'd be employment opportunities for these students. So I reached out to Ted Marty with August Shell Brewing Company, and they've been gracious to host a couple of our students in the past, but we had a special one here where one of the students wants to be a brewmaster, and he currently works at the brewery in Ulm, Germany, Gold Uxton. So I asked Ted, and I sent him a copy of the resume, and he said that Dave Berg, his brewmaster, would be willing to work with him if that's something we would decide. That's what I have to report back from one of the employers that I contacted that got back to me. Kathleen?
I contacted a staff person from the Brown County Social Services. She indicated that they have done internships in the past. This would be different in that the person would be coming from Germany. She did ask questions about liability insurance and exposure, who's responsible for that. I did share with her, it's called a memorandum of understanding that the student or the intern does sign when they come over, and it clarifies different issues related to insurance and not holding anybody here responsible in case something would happen during their employment or during their trip here, and also forwarded the resume. The issue is that their group doesn't meet until tomorrow to make a decision. So at this point, it would be pending.
So, yeah, it's, and I also sent a half dozen emails out and or some phone calls for discussions with, trying to find some host families also potentially, whether it would be a male and or a female, whether families would take that, but I didn't know a timeline, but I just told them, potentially this summer into fall, but I would, again, we have to, as a commission, try to still, it's always a challenge to try to find welcoming host families, potentially two
I think
sometime.
it'll be easier once we know coming.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yep.
I think so.
A lot easier.
So, so we could, we can table this another month, or we could see if, we have one potential job offer and or a interested party. Do we want to act on that, or do you want to?
That's pushing it off pretty far.
I know, because then we get it.
We'd owe it to them to make a decision.
Yeah, I would agree.
Now, I gotta ask, did we always choose the inbound?
No,
No,
How come we are doing that now?
well, they gave us three. They gave us three candidates.
usually we didn't have.
Usually we only get one candidate.
One or two,
I see.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's where, when we were in February's meeting, the discussion was, well, which one do you choose? You got three great candidates, but then also, we have to try to find jobs. And I think there was one of the commissioners that wrote it would be really unique if we could do a brewmasters, and so I thought that commissioner wasn't here. I think it was Dick Seabooth. And I thought, well, I can at least reach out to Ted and ask and give him a few weeks and see what they decide out there if they have a potential interest, 'cause I feel it's important. We got to try to have jobs of related interest to the students, to keep their enthusiasm.
Well, my opinion is that the brewmaster is something really specialized compared to the other applicants. And if we have a locally Shells willing to take on that opportunity and to train, give somebody exposure in the United States and how we go about business here in that specialized area, I would support that over the other two.
I would too, because the opportunity for him maybe in the future won't be there. I mean, things can change. We have somebody that's willing to do it right now.
Well, and we have an applicant that wants to learn from a company that's literally based out of New Ulm, that's part of New Ulm that, we take and we hold dear to ourselves, as a brewery. That sounds like that's a perfect fit. To me.
I agree.
Well, what I'm hearing is we may have a applicant.
I would put that in the form of a motion to accept
Okay, so his name is Samuel Coops.
Samuel Coops. I make that motion that we accept Samuel Coops.
I have to go back.
Knoops.
So we have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for Samuel Coops. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Looks like we've got Samuel for our inborn Hans Joseph intern, and we'll get this off to Lisa, and Lisa can start working on lining up dates. So, and then item 7 would be old business. We're in a recognition award, John Vorek, Brian Filzen. So reception is scheduled for Monday, April 7th at the Kickle Club. And it looks like the regular meeting will be held here at the council chambers. Following that, we will go to the Kickle Club. I know that was brought up in January about how if you could be mobile to go out to the Kegel. Now, Brian was asking about that, Filzen, in January, but he's not here to report back how we would get, that filmed or recorded. So I guess at this point in time, the way I'm reading, we'll have to,
Here and then we'll-
we'll come here April 7th at 5:15 and shoot to be out to the Kickle Club by around 6 o'clock. That sound good?
Is it back in order?
No. Takes 7 days.
So John's working on the plaque, so that was item 2 for the old business. And then I'm assuming the Kegel will have the usual, pop and appetizers that we've typically done in the past. And then maybe we remind Lisa to email out for the Friends of the Sister Cities Commission to attend as well. And spouses. Okay, and 7.2 would be the German Language Day Camp for 2025. We've got Carolyn Marty Smith and Ellie Sweeney and Jane Mayday. Can you give a...
Well, we had some discussion on it, but in talking with the teacher from the high school, he didn't think that it would work out this summer for him. So the dates, we just really got to work on those dates, and Carolyn will be back next month, so we'll get together, and so will Ellie, and we'll sit down and make a determination if we're going to move forward this year or if it has to be put off for another year. I know we want to do it this year, but we have to, if he can't help us, and there's a few other things that we want to talk about as well. So we'll report back next month.
And then I think at the end of 2024, Tom Schmitz,
Yes.
the past commissioner and council member now, he had a family member that was going to be traveling here from Germany in potentially July or August, wasn't it?
We just
That-
didn't get a chance to meet before everybody left for the winter and left me here in the cold, okay?
Okay, so
It hasn't been that bad.
7.2 will be tabled till further for another month.
Yeah.
And then, and item 8, so then we have an addendum here too, so we've got to work on, so we'll have to suspend the rules for the addendum for our meeting, and that is for new business for the 2025 Brat Stand. And so in the past, it says here, to consider holding Brat Stand fundraiser for 2025. Schedule Brat Stand dates for 1 or 2 days, and appoint a commissioner member to contact Cashwise for available dates and complete Cashwise Brat Stand form.
Mr. Chair, you need a motion, I guess, to
Yeah.
suspend?
Yeah, so we'll need a motion here to suspend the rules for the addendum.
I make a motion that we suspend the rules for the act of the addendum.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So now we will go for the discussion here on the,
I'll take
Brat
care
stand.
of it.
so Jane Mayday is, what I'm hearing, is gonna contact Cashwise for dates and to bring back possible dates for future meeting for Cashwise. And Commissioner is fine with 1 or 2 days for the summer. See what we can get.
Yep. We should be able to do that pretty soon. I think in March we can start with that if I remember right.
Well, thank you, Jane, for volunteering for that. And no further business. Meeting will be adjourned.